Yo, coming at you live, 11 o'clock at night, St. Patrick's Day. And I figured what a good day to start a series of videos on the company that I'm building and creating and what's going on and real estate investing and all that. And, I had originally created a couple of videos and they were like all over the place. And I did it for a reason because I wanted to see, if without a plan, without some notes, without you know, understanding what the point was and having some goals in mind, I just figured I would talk into a camera and it all came out pretty crazy. And it went into bodybuilding, it went into real estate, it went into all these different things. And so I sit here with a plan. Uh, and a some notes in front of me that I brainstormed beforehand, and I figure I'm gonna start out like this. And I definitely don't want to because I wish I was just great at it already and I had all the resources, But instead of doing video editing, I'm using this microphone because it actually is pretty good in terms of capturing the sound. And then the reason that I'm doing this is one, to bring more opportunities to my network in terms of investments. And I figure what's the best way to show people the grind, the effort that I put in, um, you know, in a better way than to actually just record it all and put it down on video. Also to give back to other people who want to invest or create companies, and then you know, as well as giving back to myself in my craft, right? Because if I talk about it, if I put it out there, if I speak about it, and in front of a group of people, then it makes me sharpen my skills up. Right now, it's not just me talking about things or thinking about things in my own head, right? It's about actually putting it out in front of people. And then I have to take a look at it and I have to get better at it and I have to improve at it. So it also puts a fire under me, to get better at my craft. Like if a video in a year down the road is exactly the same quality, exactly the same content, exactly the same, amount of properties, all of that, right? Then I clearly am not getting any better at what I'm doing. But it forces me to look at that stuff and actually grind in that area. So I first wanted to start out, and I'm going to share this with you here because this, for me, is the beginning of it all. And that's right here. This is my board that I just created, and it sits back behind me over on that side of the wall. But I figured, why not just put it out there, right? It has my family, my bodybuilding. I want to try to get to be a Mr. Olympia natural, and want to be on the real estate disruptors, the Bigger Pockets podcasts. I want to do 5G, which I do already, but I want to do private LTE that connects buildings up, do renovations. I want to renovate buildings eventually in 1031 exchange. I want to do developments. I also want to renovate cars, and I want to drift. And I have a truck that I built now, but if I did the suspension, I could probably be a drift. But I don't want to forget about my hobbies. I don't want to forget about my family. So this also has my goals right here, and I have some goals by 2026 and by 2031. But the ones for this year are 300,000 earned, 10 rentals, 10 telecom projects, $5,000 cash flow from my rentals per month, right? So essentially, my essential bills will be paid this year. That's my goal. I want to make $100,000 on a flip this year. I want to make 50,000 on a flip, and then I want to turn that into a Brazilian beach house rental Airbnb. I want a 1031 exchange into a 5 unit from a flip. I want five active um, funders, private funders for my real estate side of things. And then I want to give back, teach, love, help others. And then I have some forecast things on here too. So that's what I'm looking at here in terms of the start, right? Why wouldn't it start anywhere else than the goals, right? Start with the plan, start with the goals. So with that being said, I have some telecom projects that I've done. And I started both of these companies, my real estate side and my telecom side. I started both of these in about July of 2021. And so here we are in March of 2022. So, if these are my 2022 goals, and they would all be, accomplished at about a year and a half of starting my first company. And I'm still not even a year in my first company. So I figured if I grinded in the telecom side, right, the thing that I knew, the thing that I have experience in, I could get some funds and pay all of my bills, and I wouldn't need to take any capital or anything like that. And then I could put that money at least into the real estate side, but the buying of systems and the trips needed to go see properties, the earnest monies, the inspections, the appraisals, and those types of things. So if I had money from the telecom side first and grew that division, right, I could then implement some systems, some employees, right, and then put those to work through the real estate side, and could be while I was working on and managing the telecom side, scaling that, I would have these pieces in place to start going after and finding deals in the real estate side of things. So at this point, we've been marketing for about 4 to 5 months. And I've started marketing, doing the off market thing, everybody, the wholesaling. I had cold callers. For me, that was not the best way to go because I had cold callers calling, and then I was supposed to be calling these people back. And I'm not, a social butterfly type. I didn't enjoy calling people and talking to people on the phone like that. I much rather, have a CRM that works for me and kind of has everything in one place, and even does some marketing, right? And I can send texts and emails and that type of thing and just reach far more people than just having a cold caller just literally dial, hundreds of people a day. And then I have to purchase lists of distressed properties. And, for me, I'm a contractor by trade in telecom, so I want to build houses, right? So I start with the things that I'm good at. I start with my skills, right? I emphasize those skills by going out and setting up a system that works for me in the best way that I can actually get properties. And instead of going after and trying to find distressed properties and sell it to somebody else, right? And I've talked to a lot of wholesalers. I'm not too impressed with the way that they do, business a lot of times, but, maybe there's better ones out there, but they kind of come and go with a lot of minimizing the risk for themselves, which that's great for them. But for me, I want to do some due diligence on the property, right? I could actually probably build the entire property itself, foundation, framing, all that stuff myself. So for me, I'm looking for properties. I'm going to go do some work on those properties. I'm also going to build a team around me on those properties too. So for me, I need some due diligence. I need some inspections. I need some appraisals and those types of things as well. So for me, I had to change the entire shape and form of my business to follow this function, right? Form follows function is one of my favorite architectural slogans, statements, right? And so my form and my function were totally off, right? My form was different than my function, which was a contractor who's looking for a flip, right, to do. And then here I am going after off market deals and this. And so, I've switched to marketing to a totally different group of people, a totally different way that I do that. And we're seeing about one property, maybe more now at 5 to 6 months in, under contract. And then I've closed on, and I'll show you the ones that I've closed on. Here, 3 properties recently. So this one was a tough one, definitely a pretty rundown house. I mean, paying 30,000 for it, and about a $85,000 renovation cost. At the beginning of the day, like, I had to just do whatever I could do to get a property, right? I mean, this one's going to take a lot more work. Then we're going to have to be on site a lot. We have every major trade going into it. There's a septic system, there's a well that's getting put in. I mean, here's your rents, and these have actually even gone up since this was looked at, actually. And then we have some sold prices, 190, 180, 190 there too. So this potential, or this property, I'm in the permitting phase. But the good news about this one as like a first property is I'm going to be there doing literally everything. I mean, it has, floor joists and band boards that are rotted out in the back. So it's giving me the opportunity to do really every trade in this building. So it's going to definitely allow me a lot of experience, right? I mean, I could do the plumbing, I could do the electrical, and I've done all these things before. There's some parts of it that I have to get a licensed contractor to do too, but I'm also allowed to pull permits and stuff like that to myself, because I'm the homeowner. So I just drew this up on this nice little program that I found called Sweet Home 3D. And I drew this for the submittal, which is the existing structure here, the deck, the lean-to carport. And I put up a couple more other videos too of me doing this driveway and grading the back of this house to get ready for the septic. But it's kind of cool because you can do the 3D there too, which is this the front, that's the carport. This is actually when you walk up to the building. So I'm in the permitting phase of that one, getting that rolling, and then we're moving right along into this next one in the Kentucky market. And this one is really not in very bad condition at all. And I have a partner who funded that, and we have some good 160, 170 here. And if we wanted to rent it out, it'd go for about 1,200, maybe even more right now. That we're putting one more bedroom in it. It was a 2-in-1, about 1,000 square feet. We're making it a 3-in-1, and it doesn't have too much work. So that's our second property, and we're definitely stoked. We're closing on that on Monday, and then we're heading out, the family and I, out to Kentucky from the DC metro area, and we'll go work on that and stay there for a month or so, and work on that. And I have some breaks from the telecom projects that I'm doing some engineering stuff on, some testing and commissioning and stuff like that. So it's a perfect timing to do that. So the one thing too, and kind of what I'm running into and having trouble with right now, is I was going after some, because I made some money in telecom, so I have about 20 grand ready for a down payment, right? So I was getting into these older houses that needed to be flipped and needed to be worked on, and that's okay. But I was like, you know what, I'm ready to kind of buy a turnkey property, and so I put this one under contract here. This one, so it's a duplex, right? It has really good tenants. I met them, actually. I walked in, it looks good. I mean, the only thing they said was that the water pressure was a little light. This is a Virginia Beach area too. Now I put this under contract and I have about 30 days to close on it. I'm under contract at 115,000. But as you could see here, they're rented for 650 each. So it rents for $1,300. So that's much over, much better than that 1% of 115,000. That would allow us to be at like 130,000. And that's kind of the numbers that we're looking at right there. But the everything was good in that. I mean, I didn't get an appraisal or anything like that, but there's another duplex right here that went for 134, and that's pretty much flipped. I mean, it has a nice little bump out front porch, and then some nice new windows and all that, and it does have some LVP flooring and stuff, luxury vinyl plank flooring and all kinds of stuff. The rents, kind of are actually up closer to the 900s in the area that I saw, which is pretty cool. But if, we put that 15,000 into it, I think we would be able to get that 130 out of it too. So I'm assuming that the appraisal would come back okay on it. And, for me, this is just the nature of it, because I'm looking at these hard money lenders, right? Or these, non-bank entities, right? Now, I bought this house here with the bank, years ago when I didn't make nearly as much as I'm making my first year for this company, but also, a few years ago, I was a project manager and then a director for a telecom company. So, I was making, pretty good money, around 100K and all that. And, that I could get loans and stuff like that, no problem. Right. And I'm starting to was looking at hard money because the banks are like, oh, you don't even have one tax return at your, existing company that you're with right now. And so even though you kind of have good, money to prove and you have the down payment and everything like that, it's just too much risk right now until you get some, taxes done and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, hard money, right? Like, this is a great deal. I have the money. Well, strangely enough, like the hard money uses different metrics, and the metrics that they use are background checks and the amount of like flips and, rentals that you have out there now, instead of like your ability to pay back the loan. I mean, they also look at the length of time in business too and stuff like that. So for me, all these and the rates, are extremely high and stuff. So like all these lenders are coming back because, I have had stuff on my background, but I haven't been background checked or needed to in like years because I'm just an expert at my job. So it's like, nobody backgrounds the director position, right? No, I didn't get background at my house. So, I've definitely changed. Obviously, if I was that same person, I clearly wouldn't be doing the work and putting in the work now and, striving to 10x my life every single year. And I made some drastic changes in my life and cut out a lot of the things, the people, places and things that I used to be around too. So, now my money or my life is all about my money on my mind, I guess. My life is all about totally different things here too. So that's just what I'm dealing with, what's going on. But to have two properties under my belt here, and to have some pretty in-depth telecom projects that are funding all that here in my first year, it's a blessing, and it really is possible for anybody to do it. So I really want to start documenting this journey now as we get into these next projects and these flips. So that's what we're looking at now. Luckily that the duplex gave me an out in my contract, right? I was going in at first with no, no contingencies or anything like that. So this one I did go in with a contingency on my partner's approval. who, will be my partner in terms of whoever's going to fund it. So I have to make sure that they're able to approve that. So now I'm going in to not lose my earnest money, because I probably lost about 500 earnest money on 3 different properties that didn't come back the way they were supposed to, in terms of the appraisals, or one didn't have HVAC to the upper floor of it. So it like half the square footage was not, usable well, livable, whatever, and so I've lost about, it's invested, but I put, went into properties that look good and wasn't able to, um, do my part and close in the 30 days that I say I'll close in, and the all cash situations too that I say I'll be able to do. A lot of times that it's not easy to come through in that 30 days. And I paid for appraisals and inspections on them when I say I'm not going to, because, the money, the lenders that I was looking at just kept asking me for more and more things. So for me, definitely the hardest part right now is the funding, even though I have enough for a down payment. It's just the nature of making mistakes in the past, and the nature of also not being in business for very long, right? Starting these 2 companies side by side. But I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep putting properties under contract. I'm going to keep making them happen. I'm going to keep closing on them. I'm going to get to my goal of 10 properties this first year. I'm going to get the goal of making $5,000 in rental income this first year. So you hear me say it here. I'm putting my, my myself out there and putting my goal out there, and I'm going to grind to get it done. So I'm going to let y'all watch. And if all of those things go down on that vision board, like I believe and think they will, then you'll just have a live, a live video of it happening. And there'll be no reason not to do it for yourselves, because you see me do it. And if I can do it, any of you guys can do it too. Probably have less challenges than I do too along the way, but I love challenges. So let's go.